Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Please Vote For Me for United States Congress. I am Thomas W. Timbrooks and I'm running for United States House of Representatives, and I'm planning on representing Oregon's 6th Congressional District. That's these guys here I see. Whoops. And here I am. Yep, I am as good looking in person as I am on that photograph, huh? Yeah. So now, my whole reason for doing these weekly videos, got to make sure the microphone's not covered up. I got a loud voice, so I don't think covering up the microphone is really going to be that big of a problem. My major purpose for putting on these weekly broadcasts is so that you can figure out who I am, so that you know who you're voting for. The objective, it's not 2026 yet. It's not even, I haven't even actually registered as a candidate yet. It's still 2025. And, Krampus night is tomorrow night, which is a pretty good night. I just want to introduce myself to you and to the voting public, and to, everybody in America. Who I am, what my values are, and why it is a person like myself should be elected. So, I'm putting these presentations together with hopefully what is information that's valuable to you, the American public, and to you, Oregon's 6th Congressional District, so that you can cast your vote responsibly, knowledgeably. You know the candidate, you know the person, you know the issues, you know what's important, and this person understands what's important to you and to the United States and to the world. And the reason I bring that up is because for a United States representative, for the United States government, the whole purpose of the government, I've said this before, is to accomplish collectively that which cannot be accomplished by the individual. Now, on a state level, that's a different thing than on a federal level. The federal government has two main purposes, the two big purposes, and number one is to find federal funding for projects inside of the state, and if those projects can have a net positive effect on the United States of America. So, got to check the time there. I want to make sure I don't go over. So things like I said before, cancer research. In Oregon, there is a facility that's doing very specific type of cancer research using the human immune system to actually fight cancer. Also, we have a robotics facility here, Agility Robotics, and they've come up with a humanoid robot that looks like a really good thing. So it would be my function as a representative to find federal funding for things of that nature that would help Oregon's 6th Congressional District to improve infrastructure, to improve job opportunities, housing, food, fuel, and so basically starting with infrastructure, then jobs, then housing, then food and fuel. Because if you've got good infrastructure, the jobs will follow. If you got jobs, well, then the housing will follow, and then the food and the fuel. So those are the 5 big things that would be a benefit to the people of Oregon, Oregon's 6th Congressional District, because, I am worried about the entire United States of America, Oregon, but because I would be representing Oregon's 6th Congressional District, hopefully, if you vote for me, the issues facing the people in this congressional district would be my primary objective, to fix the issues that affect the people in this district. So we have 5 other representatives to Congress, and each one of them has a congressional district, and they would address the issues of their individual districts, but we would all work together to address Oregon collectively. So it's very important that you know who a person is, what their values are, and what their plans are, what they see as the objectives that are really important, not just to America, but to the entire planet Earth, every human being on the planet. And that's where I want to get at today. I've got a presentation today that's I want to discuss something that is exceptionally important to every human being on the planet today. All right, and I'm gonna get into that right now. And there's me, and yeah, I am that good-looking guy. I want to make Oregon's 6th congressional district America's greatest congressional district. I want to talk about the Chinese fishing fleet and the global biomass crisis. Okay. Silent collapse, how China's state-controlled fishing fleet threatens the future of our oceans. Overfishing, socialism, human exploitation, and the global choice ahead. Now this here is the Chinese fishing fleet. That is a lot of ships. Now, this is what it looks like, and I want to make this clear. This is, first of all, it's just off the South America. That's Peru right there. You got the Galapagos Islands, and you see that big, bright area there, the top left. That's the Chinese fishing fleet. And if you look there on the right, that's the Galapagos Island, and that's the Chinese fishing fleet right there. And to the bottom left, that's around Peru and everything. So the Chinese fishing fleet is very, very pronounced around the South America area, around Peru, Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, those places. And what you see there, let me get back on there. What you see there, this is not a satellite image, okay? What this is, every fishing vessel on the water, no matter how big or how small, is required to have on it a GPS pinger. Now what this does is it provides location information to a satellite, a GPS satellite network, so that every vessel that exists is recorded, its position is recorded for, well, just tracking purposes, because you've got a lot of ships in the ocean, and you don't want one container ship colliding with another smaller ship. So these GPS tracking signals are very important. So what you're looking at there, that is not actually a satellite photograph. This is actually the accumulated data of all of the GPS trackers on all of the ships in the Chinese fishing fleet. Now, imagine this is hundreds and hundreds of miles. The Chinese fishing fleet is so big that they can create a shadow that is hundreds of miles long of fishing vessels. And that's all they do. That's all they do all day long, all night long, is they go out there and they scoop up all the biomass in the ocean. And you look here, this is off the coast of Argentina. This is the other side of South America. And they're doing the same thing over there, only they're not as successful. That's the reason for that is Argentina has a significant military forces. So does Brazil. Now over here on this side of the map, you've got Peru, you got Chile, you got Ecuador, Colombia, these places. Their military presence in the ocean is not as pronounced as Argentina's. Argentina can actually do something about this. And you see, there's a fishing vessel right there that is actually on fire. Okay? What these fishing vessels are doing in Argentina's waters, this is considered piracy on the open seas. If a fishing vessel comes within your boundary, every country in the world, you get 3 miles off of your coast. Here's your coast, you get 3 miles. If anybody comes within your boundary and starts to fish or whatever, that's considered piracy, and so piracy, you better get out of there, because if they catch you, they can shoot at you. Okay, now if it's in international waters, you really can't do anything about it. But if it's in a nation's actual waters, then they can do something about it. Now, the reason I want to bring this to everybody's attention is, well, our oceans are the most important ecosystem on Earth. They regulate climate, store carbon, and feed billions. But a silent crisis is unfolding. Biomass is disappearing. Now, by biomass, I mean all of the living things, everything that is alive in the ocean. Because it is an ecosystem, all of the biomass depends on all the other biomass. Seaweed, the fish depend on the seaweed, the crabs depend on the sand. Everything depends on everything. You've got sharks down there that are going through all the sand and everything, that are looking for anything dead to eat. You've got snails and sea cucumbers and all of these living things interacting with each other. Any kind of major imbalance that is created is going to have, it's going to have an effect on everything. All right. And so what these Chinese fishing vessels are doing by scooping up all of the biomass is they are creating a very, very significant problem in the ecosystem. The ecosystem, the ocean, cannot tolerate this much destruction. Now, as a representative of the United States of America into U.S. Congress, one of the ways that I will help to shape United States foreign policy is to do something about this situation. Now, let me get back to my slides because it keeps me honest. Well, one major cause is the Chinese government-directed fishing fleet. This presentation explains why it's happening, why it matters, and why the world must act now. Okay, so here's my agenda. I'm going to talk about the global biomass problem, China's deep water fishing fleet, socialism versus the free market sustainability, human rights violations at sea, and Somalia is a case study in the collapse, the economic trap of cheap seafood, international law and China's loopholes, the global choice we must confront, possible solutions in U.S. leadership, and I'll give you my closing message. Okay? So section 1, the global biomass problem. Okay, what is biomass? It is the total weight of living organisms in any ecosystem. This includes fish, squid, krill, plankton, sharks, dolphins, everything. Everything that's alive is part of the biomass. Biomass is the of the marine food web. When biomass collapses, everything collapses. Now, the scale of decline. The squid population is down up to 70% in key regions. The shark populations are collapsing globally. Now I want you to understand something about sharks. Sharks predate the dinosaur. No shark species has ever gone extinct except for, well, actually, I'm sorry, no, there have been several shark species that gone extinct, but those things were around millions and hundreds of millions of years. Okay, so the sharks predate dinosaurs. There are certain species of shark that exist today that are unchanged since back then. Okay, there have been several species of shark that have gone extinct. That had nothing to do with mankind. Okay, it had nothing to do with human beings. But here's the thing: the collapse of the shark as a species, the whole shark species, all the sharks in the world, our existence, what we are doing in the ocean could conceivably cause sharks to disappear. Now, if sharks disappear from the ocean, see, here's the thing about sharks. They are garbage eaters. Anything garbage, anything crap falls to the bottom of the ocean, sharks just eat it up, scoop it up. They do that. They eat live fish and people and hippies and all that stuff too. But sharks are an extremely important part of the ecosystem because they clean the ocean. anything that's dead and rotting and going to waste, they will come by, they'll scoop it up, they'll eat it up, they'll poop it out, and then snails will get to eat their poop. It's all part of the circle of life, Hakuna Matata and all that crap. Okay? For sharks to go extinct, our presence, our effect on the environment has to be so huge, so just pronounced that that we are about ready to destroy all life on the planet. And we're going to do it without bombers, without missiles, without atomic bombs, without any of that stuff. We are just going to kill all life on the planet by making it impossible for life to sustain itself. And we're going to do that by depleting the ocean. We are going to deplete the ocean of all of its biomass. And the way we're going to do that is cheap seafood brought to us by the Chinese fishing fleet. The Chinese fishing fleet is going to provide us with all the filet of fish sandwiches and all the cheap calamari barroom, the sports bar food. Hey, do you got calamari here? Yeah? All right. Where'd you get that calamari? Well, the Chinese fishing fleet is scooping so much of it out of the ocean that it's actually causing the potential collapse of several species. So the squid population in the ocean is almost 70% gone in key regions. The shark populations are collapsing globally. Over 1/3 of all fish species are overfished. Krill, which is the base of the Antarctic ecosystem, is being harvested at record levels. And krill is like a little shrimp. And the filter feeding whales, like the blue whale and like that, they go down to Antarctica and they scoop up big old mouthfuls of it. And the blue whale, that is the biggest animal on the face of the earth. If there isn't enough krill down there to feed the blue whale, those are the things that are going to be washing up on shore by the dozens, by the hundreds. They're going to be starving to death. If all the blue whales, if they all starve to death, well, a lot of other animals are going to starve to death. So this Chinese fishing fleet thing, they are a very big problem. The ocean is being emptied faster than it can be replenished. And why this matters to humanity: 3 billion people rely on seafood as a main protein source. Oceans absorb 30% of global CO2. Oceans generate 50% of the oxygen we breathe. Without biomass, the ocean becomes a dead zone, and humanity follows. China's deepwater fleet, Section 2. The largest fishing fleet on Earth. China operates between 3,000 and 17,000 distant water vessels. And you saw the pictures. I mean, you just saw the photographs there. You've got swaths, miles, hundreds of miles long of Chinese fishing vessels. Is that 17,000? I'd say it's closer to 20,000. But officially, China claims 17,000. Now, are they lying? Yeah, they're lying. I mean, telling the truth does not present them with any benefit. They don't, communist governments do not benefit from providing the world with the truth. Okay, lying is always to their advantage. Okay, so anyways, China operates between 3,000 and 17,000 distant water vessels. It's massive compared to other nations' fleets. It travels worldwide: South America, Africa, Oceania, and that's over around Asia, and even near the United States waters. The objective is a continuous biomass extraction. This is not a market-based fleet. It's heavily subsidized by the Chinese government. And by heavily subsidized, what that means is the Chinese government is paying for the entire fleet. And if you are indoctrinated in Chinese communist policy, then you are one of the lucky few people that China, the Chinese government, allows to claim partial ownership. You control the Chinese fishing fleet. You don't own it because they're communists. They're a bunch of godless communists over there. They don't have any private property. Everything belongs to the state, including the fishing vessels. They belong to the state. And so many vessels are state-owned or state-directed. In fact, all of them are. The captains follow government quotas, not market demand. The purpose is to feed 1.4 billion people and secure global influence. 1.4 billion people in China, and all of them are, eating fish all the time, fish, rice, all that. So they target everything: squid, tuna, sharks. Yeah, the sharks, what the Chinese government, what Asia likes to do is they take this shark fins and make shark fin soup. And the thing about shark fins is they're all cartilage. There is nutritional value in the shark fin soup. It's like boiling down your fingernails. If somebody were to boil down your fingernails and eat them, that would be, I guess there's some nutritional value in the shark fin soup. But mainly it's a thing about pride. Okay, pride. If you are a person living in Asia and you are able to serve shark fin soup to your guests, this is, it's like if somebody comes to your house and they're a guest at your house and you send them home with a BMW or something like that. People come to your house and they're like, hey, I went to his house without anything and I came back with a BMW. Yay! So it's kind of a pride thing for rich people. Rich people are like, hey, look, I can serve shark fin soup. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Well, no, because you just killed a shark for absolutely no reason. You're not going to eat the shark. I mean, there are some parts of a shark that are edible, but to kill an animal just to take off its fins and then throw the rest into the water, I mean, that's pretty bad. And that's one of the reasons that sharks, the number of sharks in the world are being depleted. So, like I said before, krill, anchovies, and sardines. I don't care how you feel about pizza with anchovies. I like it myself. Anchovies are very small fish, and they are very important to the ecosystem, and so are sardines. Even the endangered species are being overfished. Basically, if it swims, crawls, or drifts, it's taken. And that's crab, shrimp, octopus, squid, eel, everything, man. Everything. They just take it all. Just scoop it up, throw it onto a ship. It's the vacuum cleaner effect. High-tech vessels with GPS swarms. You saw those GPS swarms. High-powered spotlights. And the reason they have the spotlights is because squid are attracted to light. So they take the spotlight and they put it over the water, and the squid will come up to the surface. They're attracted to the light. And they throw these squid jigs into the water. And a squid jig is just basically a barbed piece of metal. And a squid just jumps on that squid jig and it can't get away. It's a big fishing hook, basically. And they just bring the squid up and they put them on the ship in big old piles. That's where your calamari comes from. You go to the grocery store over here at the Safeway. At the Safeway, they got a really good deal. You can get 4 boxes. Here's a box of calamari about this big. And I've eaten it too. I like the calamari. It's good stuff. But you can get 4 of those boxes for $20. Okay, 4 boxes of calamari for $20. And the reason you can get 4 boxes of calamari for $20 is because these Chinese fishing vessels are going out there and they are scooping all of the biomass up from the ocean. And within 10 years, 20 years, those 4 boxes of calamari, they're going to go for a lot more than $20 because you are not going to be able to find squid in the ocean. They're going to have scooped up all the squid, and you might be able to get 1 box of calamari for $10,000. It's going to be the last of the calamari, man. So just think about that. I mean, the reason you can get such cheap seafood in America right now is because China scoops up all the seafood, takes it over to China, freezes it, and then sells it on the open market. Japan, the United States, India, Australia, everywhere in the world buys this cheap seafood, and it's a great price too. I mean, you can't say no to it. It's a great price. Seafood's good for you. The only thing is, nobody realizes that ultimately all this availability of cheap seafood is going to cause the demise of human life on the planet Earth. I mean, we are causing the next mass extinction event to occur. And we're doing it through cheap seafood. Available, inexpensive, and good for you. Nutritious, cheap seafood. That's how it's happening. So, high-tech vessels with GPS swarms, high-powered spotlights, refrigerated holds, long lines stretching miles. And these fishing lines go miles down under the water with the squid jigs, scoop up the squid, scoop up the fish. They extract huge biomass with minimal labor, and the local ecosystems are left gutted. Socialism versus the free market sustainability. To fix the problem, we need to understand why it exists. This is not just an environmental issue, it is a system design issue. What sustainable free market fishing looks like? Your privately owned vessels, each owner has a stake in the long-term health of the fishery. Laws regulate catch size, the season, timing, and species protection. Market incentives plus legal enforcement equals sustainability. If the fish disappear, the business disappears. And that is what fishermen in a free market want the fish to stick around. This is their livelihood. So they're not going to scoop up all the fish. They're not going to take all the biomass. They're not going to destroy the ecosystem. They're not going to gut the ecosystem and leave it dead. They're going to make sure to take only the fish that do not have an adverse effect on the ecosystem. They're going to take those fish, take them and sell them at market value. Now, fishing like that, you're not going to get 4 boxes of calamari for $20 anymore. You might get 1 box of calamari for $20, and it'll be good calamari. But the thing is, you will not have caused the ocean to die. All right? That's kind of an important thing. Like I said, if I become a representative of Oregon, this is one of the issues that I'm going to look into. What socialist fishing looks like. The government owns or controls the entire fleet. Production quotas are set for political or economic goals. Fishermen have no ownership or long-term stake. The incentive becomes extract as much as possible right now. There's no built-in sustainability mechanism. And that's exactly what China's doing. China is scooping up everything, selling it for the lowest possible price. And why socialist fishing is unsustainable? Well, the government quotas override natural limits. Long-term declines don't matter politically. There is no individual loss when the species collapses. The system rewards volume, not stewardship, and the ocean becomes a resource to strip, not a future to protect. And this is socialism in general. Socialism in general destroys everything that it touches. Everything. See, the whole function of socialism is to provide the least amount of everything to as many people as possible. The whole purpose of the free market is to provide as much as possible for the unlimited wants and needs of all people everywhere. This is something you learn economics 101. You go to college like I did, but you learn this in high school economics too. Economics is the study of how the unlimited wants and needs of the population are met. How we meet, how collectively the free market can meet the demands, the unlimited wants and needs of the public. Okay? So that's what economics is. Now, socialism circumvents all of the rules of economics, because what socialism does is it takes everything and it gives a little bit to a lot of people. And so there's really no reason for anybody to work at anything, to try to make any kind of improvement, because if you do make some kind of improvement, socialism's just going to come over, rob you blind, take everything that you've created, and then call you the enemy for trying to be better than everybody else. So, yeah, socialism destroys everything that it touches. Now let's look at China right now. The reason China is going all over the world with their fishing vessels is because they have depleted the fish stocks around China. They cannot find around the Chinese area, around Chinese waters. They can't find enough fish to fill their boats. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why they want Taiwan, they want Hong Kong, they want to expand. China wants to expand its territory, and the reason they want to expand their territory is so that they can go out there with their fishing vessels and scoop up all the fish that they haven't scooped up yet. Okay, so yeah, it's bad. China's system, socialism, applied to the sea. State subsidizes for boat construction, state quotas to maximize biomass return, state fuel subsidies to reach distant waters, state protection from international criticism. The result is a socialist industrial biomass extraction engine. You also have human rights violations we got to discuss. Now, fishing vessels as floating prisons. The workers, often tricked into contracts, they work 18 to 20-hour days. There's no pay, no freedom, no escape. Like I said, it's socialism. Socialists are not big on paying people anything. Your pay is a place to live and food to eat. Their passports are confiscated. Some vessels have armed guards. And many deaths go unreported. I mean, let's think about this. It's a death at sea. Nobody even knows this person. This person's just nameless and faceless. This person's just a number. Somebody dies harvesting fish. They're just going to chuck them in the water. This guy's fish food. So, yeah, that human rights violations are going on. And so, forced labor also happens. The government wants maximum cash. Labor costs cut into profits. So using indentured or trafficked labor keeps expenses near zero. The system prioritizes quantity, speed, compliance, and silence. Now, I've discussed this before, slavery. China still practices slavery. Okay, the United States, we've outlawed slavery. And in the United States, we try as hard as we can not to do business with any nations that have anything to do with slavery. And here's an example of that. For automobile manufacturers, there are 60 automobile manufacturers on the planet Earth. At least that's what Google tells me, okay? 21 of those automobile manufacturers are in Africa. Okay, 1/3 of the automobile manufacturers that exist on the planet Earth are in Africa. And these are not small automobile manufacturers. These corporations, they put out a whole bunch of cars, a lot of cars. None of these cars ever make it to the United States of America. And one of the reasons that none of these automobiles makes it to the United States is because the United States has a very strict policy on not doing business with any countries that allow slave labor to take part in the production line. And this is something China is walking a tightrope on this. China will say, no, we're paying our people. It's not slave labor. We're paying them. But the reality is something different. You see, these ships, they go out into the open sea, and while they're out on the open sea, I mean, nobody really knows what's happening with them. So these ships that scoop up all the biomass, they stay where they are at. They are anchored in a certain place, and they stay, with the GPS, well, they may or may not be anchored, I don't know, but they stay in that one area. Now what happens is great big ships come, and the food, the fish, the biomass that has been harvested by these smaller ships is transferred to these other ships. And these other ships provide fuel to these ships. So as long as these ships have fuel provided by these motherships, that ship can stay at sea. So a person working on that ship can be at sea for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. That person is a prisoner on that ship, because that person, I guess, either signed a contract. A lot of times they have prisoners who are indentured servants that go ahead and work those ships. But yeah, I mean, have you ever heard of any international court going on any of these Chinese fishing vessels to inspect any kind of human rights abuse? No, I haven't. And the big reason why you haven't heard about it is cheap seafood. Okay, the cod, if you go to McDonald's, you get yourself a filet of fish sandwich or fish sticks or whatever. Most of the time, the fish that's in the filet of fish or fish sticks or whatever, it's white cod, and cod is being overfished. We have found, the extinction of cod all over the place. The cod is actually making a comeback by protecting the environment, from cod fishing. But yeah, if you go to McDonald's, let's say that filet of fish sandwich costs you, I don't know, $5 now. If we were to prevent China from doing what it does, that filet of fish sandwich might go up to $10, $15, $20. And nobody wants that. I mean, you want your kid to have the filet of fish sandwich. You want your kids to have fish sticks for dinner, right? You want to be able to go to the store and get 4 boxes of delicious, yummy calamari for $20. You want to be able to go to the sports bar. You got calamari? We got calamari. Bring me the calamari. I love calamari. I could eat that stuff all the time. In fact, I have eaten it all the time. There was a period of time, I was living in Massachusetts, there was this one little buffet. I would walk in there, I would scoop up a big plate full of calamari and some of that brown dipping sauce. Love that stuff, absolutely love it. Delicious, let me tell you. But this was a long time ago, and this whole Chinese fishing vessel thing where they do this unsustainable biomass removal, I don't think it had actually happened yet. If it did, well, I guess I'm guilty of adding to the problem by eating that calamari. Can't do anything about it now, can't give it back. So, and this right here, it's bought and paid for. They can't repossess it, they can't tax it. So, documented abuses, beatings, starvation, forced confinement, debt slavery, that's indentured servitude, disease outbreaks, bodies dumped at sea, zero accountability. And these are the things, I mean, how did these become documented? There are some news organizations, and these news organizations have sent people out to, well, essentially they're risking their lives by providing these stories. They are risking their lives by providing the information that we in America need so that we can shape our United States foreign policy, which is something I would be responsible for with the knowledge of what's happening. Their risk, these people going out there and risking their lives to bring this information back to the American public, it's valuable stuff. It's the effort should not go unrewarded. And by ignoring the information, we're punishing the effort. These people come back, they made this effort to get this information, and they brought it back to us. If we ignore it, we're punishing these people. These people need to be rewarded for their effort, and the reward that they need is recognition of the violations. And that's something I will do as a United States representative. I will shape American policy. Remember, there's two jobs for the representatives, two jobs for federal government. One is to provide funding for the state, and the other is to shape national policy. National policy is internal and external. Foreign policy, that's something we need to shape. This is something I would build. I would look at this information and I would say, all right, look, China, if you're going to do this stuff, if you're going to fish unsustainably, we're just going to boycott any products that you provide to America. Okay, you cannot fish unsustainably. You need accountability, you need transparency in what you're doing. I don't care if it drives the price of calamari up to $20, $30, $40 a plate. The ocean, we cannot sacrifice the ocean just because we feel like having a snack at a sports bar, okay? I mean, I am all for eating. I love fish, I love sushi, I love eel, octopus, squid. I mean, I could eat sushi all day long. I have eaten sushi all day long on many occasions. Love that stuff, man. But from what I understand, it is fished sustainably. It is done sustainably. China is not doing it sustainably. And our oceans are dying because of it. Now, this is an issue that I intend to address if I am elected as your representative. So that's one of the things that kind of upsets me about some of these other representatives is some of these other representatives seem to be more focused on the protests, the pronouns, people with the purple hair. They seem to be a little more obsessed with labeling Donald Trump a fascist and a dictator and trying to stop everything that he's doing because, oh, he's terrible. Well, what they really need to do is look at national policy. What is America's national policy when it comes to dealing with the lack of transparency, the lack of accountability that China has with its industry? It's not just, I've talked about the industries, China before, how they ship cheap product over to America and they say, well, here's this. And the factories where I work at, if something was made in America, we would know it was made to the highest possible standard. And so we would get a working thing, whatever it was. It could be a chamber, it could be a motor, it could be a computer, anything. We would know that it was held to the highest possible manufacturing standard. China, all they're worried about is cheap. And so that is an unsustainable business model. So in order to protect American corporations, in order to protect American people, we would have to enact certain foreign policies that demand accountability and sustainability on the part of the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese Socialist Party. So anyways, it's not free market behavior. Free market cannot operate like this because workers have rights, boats have liability, laws regulate labor, media exposes abuse. This is the direct result of state-controlled, state-protected operations. That's communism right there. I don't care if they say it's socialist. Okay, China is socialist. You know, there's this line from Shakespeare, from Macbeth. They're looking at a bunch of witches and they say, one so like the other, they differ in name only. And I was raised on Shakespeare. My mom had a PhD in English literature. She loved Shakespeare. I heard so much Shakespeare when I was growing up. It was just ridiculous. But yeah, one of the things that the witches are described by an observer, he's saying one so like the other, they differ in name only. And that's communism, socialism. Socialism and communism, one so like the other, they differ in name only. So call it socialism if you want, it's communism. Okay, just understand that. If you want to call it socialism, you're calling communism socialism. Okay, communism's the goal, socialism opens up the door. That's all there is to it. So, Somalia is a case study. Okay, Somalia before foreign fleets. Local fishermen operated small free market boats. Catches were sustainable. Fish populations remained stable for generations. The ecosystem was balanced. What happened when China arrived? Well, large government-controlled fleets moved in. Local fishermen could no longer compete. Fish populations collapsed. Somalia's economy was devastated. Many locals turned to piracy out of desperation. Somalia is full of people. As a nation, it is a civilization that has existed for thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands of years. They were there before America ever became a country. They fished those waters for tens of thousands of years. Back when the pharaohs were building the pyramids, they probably dined on fish that were caught off the Somali waters. Okay, so Somalia has been around for a very long time. China came up with this Belt and Road Initiative. Essentially, they want to connect, China wants to connect every country on the planet with some road or belt or road or whatever, all right? And it sounds all warm and touchy-feely and all that stuff till you figure out, okay, well, there's going to be a price associated with it. Well, what happens is China goes into a place like Somalia and says, hey, you guys want to build up your infrastructure? We've got money we can loan you. You know, we could lend you all this money, and all we ask is that you let us bring our fishing vessels over to Somali waters, and we will go fishing for a little while. And the Somalian government is thinking, fishing vessels? Oh, you mean like the boats we have out here on the beach that are like 15, 20, 25 feet long? Sure, you can bring your boats over here. You can fish all day long if you want. Yeah, not a problem. What the Somali government did not understand was that China meant 10,000 fishing vessels are going to come over to their waters, and they are going to scoop up all of the biomass that has sustained the Somali people for 10,000 years. Those waters are no longer capable of sustaining the Somali people. That's why they became pirates, because China went in there and scooped up all of the biomass. Nothing is left. Those waters cannot sustain human life anymore. That's why you got Somali pirates. None of the Somali people ever wanted to be pirates. I mean, why would you want to be a pirate? The ocean is full of life. It's teeming with life. You don't have to risk your life to go out there, scoop up a bunch of fish, bring it home. The whole village loves you. You've got all these fish, the village, everybody in the village eats. Everybody's happy. Then China comes through, scoops up all the fish. The fish are no longer there. The people of the village are very upset with you. Where's the fish? We went out fishing all day long. All we caught was these 2 fish. Well, it's not enough to sustain the village. Well, see those container ships out there? Those container ships are full of valuables. If we steal a container ship, bring it over, we could sell all those valuables and we could buy food for our people. That's why the Somali pirates exist, because China went in there and destroyed their ecosystem, the ecosystem that they've survived on for 10,000 years. Imagine if that happens here in America. Can't let that happen. What happened when China arrived? Large government-controlled fleets moved in. Local fishermen could no longer compete. Fish populations collapsed. Somalia's economy was devastated. Many local pirates, they heard of piracy. I didn't advance that slide. I should have advanced the slide while I was sitting there talking to you, man. Somalia has a warning. This is what happens when a socialist-style industrial fleet overwhelms a free market local system and extracts biomass without limit. Somalia is a future preview of what global oceans may face. The economic trap. Why the U.S. struggles to intervene. America imports huge amounts of cheap seafood from China. That's like I said, that's where we get our barroom food from. If you've ever been to a sports bar and picked up a plate of calamari, yeah, made the waitress giggle because, yeah, here you go. I want me some calamari. I like some calamari. Ooh, squeeze some lemon juice over that calamari, just eat it up. You know, you give the waitress a good tip, she's happy, you're happy, boom, life is good, right? Till that calamari runs out because the ocean's dead. Let's think about that for a minute there, okay? Why the U.S. struggles there? Okay, if we stop it, prices rise, consumers complain, politicians fear backlash. So if you are the politician, you're a politician and you tell the people, look, ocean's dying, we can't sustain that fishing, we're gonna have to boycott China. That calamari you get in the sports bar, it's gonna, that one little plate of calamari you get in the sports bar, if calamari is available, which it probably won't be, it's probably gonna cost you $40, $50 right there, okay? So calamari is no longer going to be a barroom food. You're gonna get French fries, chicken wings, that's about it. That's plenty for me. Ooh, onion rings too. Love them onion rings. Don't take away my onion rings. But the calamari is probably going to disappear. And if it is available, you're probably going to be paying 5, 10, 15 times what you're paying now. That's going to be some expensive stuff. So, I mean, at least you know it's got to be done right. But yeah, the ocean dies and, well, I mean, calamari is going to be gone anyway, right? So, yeah, something to think about. The hidden cost of cheap seafood is slave labor, ecological destruction, environmental collapse, long-term global starvation risk. Cheap seafood today equals empty oceans tomorrow. China uses the market as a shield. As long as Americans buy cheap seafood, the Chinese fleet keeps removing biomass. No one can stop them. International law in China's defense. China's argument, international waters belong to no one. We are not breaking the law. We can fish where we want. And that is true. China, they can do that. I mean, international law. International law provides for every sovereign nation to have a 3-mile boundary around its borders. The United States has that, Argentina, Peru, everybody. Every nation in the world has a 3-mile fishing limit. Only that nation can fish within 3 miles of that sovereign border, okay? And that's international law. But you get out into the middle of the ocean and China puts out those big old drag nets. Those things are gonna scoop up a lot of fish. And the more fish they scoop up in international waters, the more the ocean dies. So really, the only way to stop China from doing what they're doing is to prevent China from being able to sell their catch on the open market. Because, like I said, America, one of the things that the United States government has to do is shape U.S. policy. United States policy is shaped by the government of Washington, D.C., and we absolutely cannot allow Americans to profit from slave labor. Slave labor, bad. Yes, it provides Americans with cheap seafood, but the human rights abuses cannot be accepted. Slavery is wrong. It's Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant is the philosopher who came up with the universal concept of justice. Essentially, if something is justified here, it has to be justifiable everywhere. And if slavery is wrong within the boundaries of the United States of America, then slavery is wrong everywhere in the world. And if the United States of America will not tolerate slavery in any of the corporations that are allowed to do business in America, America cannot allow slavery to take part in any corporation that does business with America. If China has slave labor on their fishing fleet, we can't do business with them. Sorry, no, we can't. That's just bottom line. That is American policy. No slavery, zero slavery. End of story. Not even going to discuss it. Why the world is powerless. International law is weak on enforcement. China is too large economically to punish. Fleets operate with military-grade coordination, and poorer nations depend on Chinese trade. That's what we're talking about. These poorer nations, they need that cheap food. Without that cheap food, people starve. So, anyways, the loophole China exploits. No one owns the ocean, so the strongest nation controls it. And that's true. I mean, America has set off nuclear bombs in the ocean. That's not good for the ocean, right? So, I mean, China says, yeah, you set off nuclear bombs, we're just fishing. This is an example of the tragedy of the commons. And tragedy of the commons is something that psychiatrists, psychologists have known about for a long time. Let's say you've got 10 farmers, and these 10 farmers each own a field. And they let their cattle graze in their field, but each farmer is allowed a day of the week, or one day. So farmer 1 goes out for one day, grazes in the open field, brings the cattle back. Farmer 2 does the same, farmer 3 does the same, and like that. Well, each farmer is going to do everything possible to take as much as possible from the common field, because the common field is cheap. It's free. So if it's free, people are going to take everything possible from it so that they can protect their own finite resources in their field. Their field, they want their cattle to graze in their field, but they're going to get the free stuff first, okay? And that's what's called tragedy of the commons. China sees the open seas, the open ocean as free stuff. And so they're going to go in there, they're going to take everything they possibly can. And they're going to sell all the fish that they catch to all of the countries all over the world. And they're going to make billions and trillions of dollars doing it. And nobody's going to stop them because everybody in the world's getting cheap food. Okay? And they're going to keep getting that cheap food until the ocean dies. And then everybody in the world's going to die because cheap seafood. Okay? So, yeah, there's that. The global choice. Oops. Our choice is the long-term health of our planet, short-term cheap seafood. That's our choice. We can make, I say we go for the long-term health of our planet. And that is what, like I said, if elected, go to Congress. National policy, our national policy will be shaped in a way that we protect sustainability in the environment. We cannot exist in a dead, dying environment. Human beings will die off as a species if we keep on doing what we're doing. And so this is one of the things I agree with the hippies on this, is that the environment is, well, it's our mother, our father. We exist because the environment exists. If the environment no longer exists, we're gone. No more filet of fish sandwiches, no more ball pits at McDonald's. We're just gone. We are an extinct species. And what exists next? I don't know, probably some kind of fungus. Mushroom people. That's what's going to exist after we die off, mushroom people. So I say that American international policy, American national policy, foreign policy, focuses on long-term health of our planet. What happens if we do nothing? Well, biomass collapse, species extinction, food shortages, ecological instability, future wars over protein, generational starvation, ocean dead zones. And socialism is the root cause of this. Make no mistake, socialism is what is killing humanity. The system rewards extraction, not regeneration. The fleet exists to satisfy government quota, not market demand. No individual is responsible for the damage. Only the government benefits. The world pays the price. Solutions in U.S. leadership. That's where I come in. What the United States can do, we can ban seafood from forced labor fleets. Like I said, we cannot allow America to do business with countries that allow slavery. New labeling laws for transparency. Invest in domestic aquaculture. Support sustainable free market fishing. Joint naval patrols with allies. Technology-driven surveillance of illegal fishing. We can do all that stuff. We're America. We can do that. Why American leadership matters? Well, the United States has the diplomatic and economic power to influence global norms. Oregon, the Pacific Northwest, and coastal states understand the importance of sustainable fisheries. Protecting the ocean protects future generations. This is my final statement here. China's distant water fishing fleet is not just a fishing operation. It is a state-directed biomass extraction system powered by socialist economics, fueled by forced labor, and protected by global dependence on cheap seafood. Humanity now faces a decision. Do we protect the oceans, or do we allow them to be emptied? Because once the biomass is gone, it's gone forever. Okay, and that's it. This is the raccoon of finished presentations. It's a good-looking guy. Big old fat guy. I bet he gets lots of cheap seafood in the garbage. You throw away that cheap seafood, the raccoon's going to get it. Okay, these are my top 10 things I'm going to work on if I do get to Washington, D.C. Remove $5 trillion from national debt. Propose a 28th Amendment for transparency in financial incentives. Secure America's digital infrastructure by requiring PLCs be built domestically. Tuberculosis and polio screening for all migrants, as well as food workers. 5-pillar blueprint to empower local governments. Protecting our law enforcement through the Reasonable Operational Space Act. Requiring early measles vaccination. An American Talent First Act to ensure American workers are prioritized for American jobs. Immunotherapy for cancer research, and in-person voting. I want all those things. I do support President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. I think the guy's done a phenomenal job. I think he has done everything that is required to get the Nobel Peace Prize. I think he's a great guy. I also support Tulsi Gabbard for president in 2028. I'm serious. I think that she'll do a great job. I think she'll be a terrific president. I think that she, being the first female president of the United States, I think she deserves the job more than anybody else. So, make America great again. Yeah, I support the MAGA agenda, but mostly I support the Make Oregon 6th Congressional District America's greatest congressional district agenda. And that is where I end. I thank you very much for listening to me. I thank you very much for hearing me out, and I hope that some of what I said is important to you. I hope you vote for me. Take care.